You know, as a young child, my mother struggled with drug addiction and mental health issues. And my mother was a very sultry and sad woman at the time. She's a changed woman now, thank God. But the only time I ever seen her in a different light was when she put on a record. So she'd come downstairs in her nightgown, or muumuu, so to speak, and she'd fire up a Marlboro 100 or something, and she would play records, and I would see her in a different way. I would watch her dance to Waylon Jennings. Ain't living long like this. And she'd be singing it and smoking with an ass that long. Never knew how to fall off that fucking cigarette. And then she'd sit down and she'd play Bette Midler the Rose and she'd just cry. And I remember thinking, I want to make people feel the way this music makes her feel. If a doctor would have helped my mother, my nickname might be Slim Totem. I'd have a six-pack and wear a fucking long white cloak, right? But music helped my mother, and I'm an overweight alcoholic musician instead. So, but I just remember thinking that's what I got into music for, and I started writing songs as a young kid. And as a Nashvilleian, my heart was always to be a part of country music. We were meeting with labels, and we had a song. We had built something. I guess in humbleness, special. You know, we had a YouTube channel that had over 1 billion views. We done this independently. When I say independent, I mean like TuneCore independent. Like we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We were just uploading music and it was working, you know. And we started meeting with labels, and I would go to LA and they'd say, hey, we'll give you this much money. We have a hook with Charlie Puth and you can do this on this. And I'm just like, but do you know Tim McGraw? And they would go, no, we can't help you there, but we do we can get you hooked up with Demi Lovato. And I was like, that's great, but can you get me on the Grand Ole Opry? They were like, no. And then I'd start going to meet with the Nashville record labels, and it was the polar opposite, right? I meet with Nashville labels, they're like, hold on, let me get this right. You want us to take a kid with a nickname, a criminal background, and face tattoos to country radio? They would laugh me out of the room. And then they would say, have you met with our partners in LA? And I was like, nobody gets it. And then I sat down with Loba, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but I looked up, I knew Parmalee, I've been friends with Matt and them for years. I knew Laney for years too. And I looked up the Broken Bow roster, and I remember thinking, this looks like a halfway house, right? You know, I was like, you got a black dude that dresses like a pimp, you got an old rock band in a van. I was like, you got another guy that does trap country music. There's a Mexican police officer. This is home. I get this. If anybody's gonna give me the country radio on the Grand Ole Opry, it's this fucking guy right here for sure. And we've met, and it's a true story. I realized, you know, humor's always in the truth, right? And I realized that from my background and being independent, and I was going to go through growing pains, and I'm still going through them. I'm learning every day that everybody that came with you can't go with you. And I realized that if I was going to do big business, I needed somebody who knew big business. And I did. I got a manager, and he freaked out. And I said, dude, I fucking love you, man. I was like, I'm not here for the money. I'd have quit, you know, years ago if I was here for the money. I own my catalog. I'd sell it right now and go die of alcoholism. I was like, I want to make music to touch people. I want to continue to bring the message of my mother to people. I'm still writing songs for that same old lady in that trailer smoking that cigarette right now. Some of y'all know her to drive a van in your afternoon and morning shift. Feel free to play me there, she'll get it.